Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for, waiting it out, but here we are, and we're back with this second semifinals of WCG Eastern Finals.
Yeah, we're going to see this best of five series between LaGTTBelieve and Ks.AlexCMoi right after this Esports Canada Sting. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, team. The map is Ohana. The game is paused. The players are LaGTTBelieve and AlexCMoi. Now the game is unpaused. The most exciting pause and unpause I have ever seen. But in the top left corner of this map, Ohana, we have our green Protoss, LaGTTBelieve.
And his opponent spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Ohana is Killing Sprees, AlexCMoi.
AlexCMoi.
And he's Terran, so now we remember. Jog my memory a little bit. Okay, I'm ready for this.
Yeah, now Terran so underrepresented in so many tournaments, so I'm so glad to see them here. I don't know who's going to win this, but I know that Terran is my worst matchup. I do play Protoss, so if I was in LaGTTBelieve's position, then I know that Terran would be moving on to the finals.
I'm pretty sure we're going to see a different style of game from at least the last set that we just had. Even though it was a PvT, these two players, at least through the competition, have been playing very macro-style games.
Yeah, Believe is not one to do, I haven't noticed him to do much proxy play, and AlexCMoi also likes to play straight up. So we should see a nice macro game, maybe a little bit longer than what you typically would see if it was some sort of proxy cheese. We do see the barracks going up in an odd position for AlexCMoi, opting not to put it over at the ramp. And I believe this is what we saw a lot from him yesterday. He likes to go for that style where he doesn't build at the ramp, but he was doing that, I think that was against Terran, which he knew that the SCVs wouldn't be scouting so much. Protoss, however, definitely wants to scout, even if it is blocked, just to maybe get a glimpse or maybe catch one of those SCVs off guard that's building.
Exactly. Now the probe, as you said, is able to scout and get inside the base. Notice that there's nothing strange going on. The first barracks is coming up about the 2-minute 50 mark, 2-minute 50-second mark, and is able to just leave, get a scout, no gas, and is happily going to go home, knowing that no cheese is coming.
Yeah, might decide to take that Xel'Naga tower, might even just wait by the third or in the corner of the natural. There's a nice little hiding spot near the rocks where some players don't often go. Meanwhile, we do see Believe is spending a lot of chrono boost on his probes, and the SCV is coming up the ramp, is going to be able to come up here, see how much gas is, or sorry, not how much gas, how much chrono is left on that Nexus, and we'll know it's probably not going to be any sort of 4-gate play, anything crazy like that. The gas is out. He knows that that's typical for Protoss because they need it to get their warp technology, and we do see the warp gate technology researching right now.
Now, the SCV is going to be hiding in the mineral line just to, maybe pop in later, get another scout off, or maybe even drop an engineering blade to block the Protoss. He knows the Protoss is probably going for some sort of expansion build, but the Zealot's not going to let that happen, and the SCV is going to hightail its way back home.
Unfortunately, the Zealot's range is just not high enough. Won't be able to catch that speedy little SCV. The SCV will probably go home, possibly even grab the Xel'Naga tower, giving both players vision on the other side. But now, Believe deciding to expand now that that SCV does get pushed out. It'll be interesting to see if that SCV decides to poke a little bit later on just to get a scout on that possible timing of that natural to make sure that LaGTTBelieve isn't going for some sort of one-base all-in play.
Something that MC used to do very often against Zerg was make that Nexus and at the last moment cancel it. Just throw the Zerg off guard. Now the bunker is coming down for AlexCMoi in the front of his base. Pretty typical play here. Marines just scouting around. And losing that Watchtower to that Stalker. Doesn't want to lose that Marine so cheaply to one Stalker.
That Stalker is going to come down for a poke after this SCV does go up the ramp and does notice the natural timing. The micro on the Stalker is good, does get the scout that he needs as well, doesn't take any hull damage. This Zealot is going to quickly chase down this SCV, but with proper micro, the SCV will easily escape his melee predator. Meanwhile, that Zealot will happily go back to the Xel'Naga tower and regain vision, reconnecting with his long-lost Stalker friend.
Stalker, I wonder, didn't go around to pick off that SCV. I guess now he's going to try to scout around with these two Stalkers, just in case he runs into a group of Marines and happens to only be outnumbered. So Stalkers are going around trying to find that scouting SCV, and we see the Robo facility coming down for Believe. So typically going for that robo, getting the more gateways up, and is probably going to be getting some tech.
Yeah, we're probably going to be looking. Actually, sorry, Believe loves to go with the sentries. He loves to split those forces in chunks with those force fields, and his force fields were excellent yesterday. So this is something that AlexCMoi will have to be very aware of. He'll have to know that Believe is going to have force fields. He seems to favor them in Terran versus Protoss, so make sure you don't put your army in a weird position where you can't get around or escape, and make sure you're ready to pick up your units with medevacs if you have them to escape that force field contain.
Now, Protoss, early on in the game doesn't have that advantage of getting the watchtower until Terran starts getting those Marauders out or a high number of Marines. A couple of Marines aren't going to be able to take the tower from a couple of Stalkers. You see the factory just completing for AlexCMoi, and he is going to be going into that Medivac tech very soon.
Indeed. Yeah, just like you said, it's very common for Terran players to just assume that the Protoss has map vision, has the Xel'Naga towers, because, like you said, those units are very difficult for Terran to break with the low-tier tech, like Marines.
And here we go.
This giant group of Marines is now going to try to force the Stalkers out. The micro is terrible for LaGTTBelieve. He does lose one Stalker cheaply, is going to regret that move, but does at least save one in time. And now these Marines and Marauder are going to have to camp out at the Xel'Naga tower to keep vision on that area of the map.
There are two observers out on the field right now, one in the middle of the map, and the other one seemingly to go into the base of AlexCMoi. He is going to be able to scout out that starboard timing, and the Marines now going back, probably trying to snipe an observer or something. They are moving up and down that ramp. A little indecisive here with these Marines. Sitting on the ramp, okay, they are in a good spot right now.
So medevac potential is there for AlexCMoi, but he's still not building. There they go. The two medevacs are coming out. So they're probably going to hit just after the 9-minute, which is probably about the earliest you're going to see the medevacs. So this was a medevac bioball build for sure, and he is getting the upgrades for his Marines. Critically picks up that observer. No more scout for Believe. For now at least, and we do see the other observer switching hands with the factory moving through the center of the base.
There goes the bunker being salvaged, and that's a sign that the Terran is ready to move out. Meanwhile, back in AlexCMoi's base, he is trying to destroy the third rocks, and he is getting those double forge upgrades. So going for a more of a, I guess, a later game stage. But Protoss with those two upgrades becomes so much more stronger and tankier against the Terran DPS.
This is something you do have to be careful against a Protoss opponent. Protoss are comfortable just tanking up in their base. If you let them get that third base and you just let them keep generating, eventually that'll be a lot of trouble. Now, we do see a large group of Marines and Marauders trying to push the issue, probably trying to push that timing with the medevac support. The units of Believe are ready, and there's that sentry count that Lexi has to be careful of. If he pushes up the ramp too much, he might get caught. The observer does notice this army, so Believe is going to be able to fight against this. Meanwhile, these medevacs are coming in the back. This is a wonderful move by AlexCMoi. You do see Believe's army is out of position, so these medevacs have potential to do an enormous amount of damage in the back. No movement by LaGTTBelieve, and AlexCMoi now is going to be able to snipe the Templar Archives as he's fast enough. Meanwhile, Believe's army was completely out of position. The Templar Archive does go down, and now the pylon is going to go down. No, now the probes go down, and the medevac quickly picks up, wisely leaves the base, and that was a very good pickup by AlexCMoi.
Not the Templar Archives, the Twilight Council. So
sorry.
We're not losing any sort of Storm or Templar tech, because that would be a totally different and terrible situation to be in. But we did see a sort of a pincer attack coming from AlexCMoi, and he wasn't able to do much damage at the third, because the third wasn't dropped yet at the time. So now the observer still sitting on the middle of the map, and this army is getting ready to move out again. Some Vikings even joining the fray to deal with those Colossus.
Yeah, the Marines and Marauder are moving up to the natural base, and we're going to see that Believe is going to have one Colossus out of position. It's going to get absolutely owned by the DPS, and AlexCMoi wisely moves out, doesn't want to do any more. He knows he picked up a huge kill on that Colossus. Meanwhile, a drop in the back, the Stalkers are there to receive these units. These units aren't going to be able to handle the massive amount of Stalkers there. The micro is good for Believe. He's able to attack and defend at the same time. And he's actually attacking his own Stalker as if to say, I don't need you in my force anymore. And the last Marine does go down, not without killing that last Stalker. And the force fields are beautiful. These Marines aren't going to get caught out of position. The Sentry DPS isn't the greatest, but it's the Colossus that's doing the brunt of the work. The medevacs are frantically trying to heal up their Marine friends, and the units try to push forward to take out the Colossus. They do, and AlexCMoi doesn't do a very bad job defending against this. He actually comes in with reinforcements, decides to go in on it. He kills the heavy gas units of the sentries, and the fourth baits out a few more force fields. The units actually decide to go in and kill some more units, and LaGTTBelieve is losing all of his units in this confrontation in the middle of the map.
Oh man, that was such an intense moment there. Drops going on the back, and this fight in the front, it's still going. The Marauders are still chasing, but here comes the reinforcing army for the Protoss, and he's able to push it off. Vikings now lifting up again. They were actually landed before, just to do that extra DPS on the ground. Right now, if we look at the units lost tab, LaGTTBelieve is about 2,000 minerals in deficit, but he does have his third base established, and it is mining, so nothing, and not losing too much of his tech, only losing that Twilight Council, but now has a backup, getting Blink, and it seems that things have kind of stabilized for our Protoss player.
Indeed. Now, critically, those level 2 weapons and armor for Believe are coming out now. They were delayed because of the snipe on that Twilight Council, which is needed to get those level 2 upgrades. Meanwhile, we do see AlexCMoi pushing in towards the natural, probably going to see if he can deny that third. The army of Believe is there to receive them. There are a lot of zealots there without legs moving out. The Stalkers go down very fast, which means there's going to be nothing to take down these Vikings, which easily take down that Colossus. The Vikings land for the extra DPS, and this army size for AlexCMoi looks very large. Believe may not be able to hold this. A frantic warping at the front, but Believe GG's out, knowing that he can't hold this, a giant force attacking his third. So that means AlexCMoi takes game number 1 in this best of 5 semifinal series. We're just going to go to some ads, but please stay with us. We'll see you on the other side of this break.
Yep.
I am not just a television. I am a Samsung Smart TV. I am your window to the world. A portal, so no matter where you are, you're in the front row. I am a gateway, so you can access anything and watch everything. The only question is, where will your passions take us? Experience the future of Smart TV now.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and that was such an intense game, but we are here for game number 2 between LaGTTBelieve and Killing Spree's AlexCMoi.
Yeah, like you said, an incredible matchup between these two players. I think that what really helped out AlexCMoi was that he didn't overextend himself too much. He would drop into main, he killed the Twilight, killed a few probes, and quickly got out of there as fast as possible. And then when he moved into the natural, he sniped that Colossus and quickly left. All those little battles all amounted to one big victory in the end, and that's really what you need to do. You can't afford to just throw away your army after killing. I mean, you'll kill the Colossus and you'll think to yourself, oh, this is great, and then you'll keep pushing in. But this game is about to start, so we're going to go to an Esports Canada Sting, and we'll see you on the other side of that. Welcome back, team. This is game 2 between LaGTTBelieve and AlexCMoi, and the map is Daybreak. And Songers, why don't you do the introduction of our players?
And in the top right-hand corner of Daybreak, we have our green Protoss. He is LaGTTBelieve.
Yep, there he is.
His opponent in the bottom left-hand corner of Daybreak, our blue Terran Ks', which is Killing Spree's AlexCMoi.
So AlexCMoi is up 1-0 in this best of 5 series in the semifinals of the WCG Canadian, the national finals.
Or Eastern.
The Eastern one, yeah. So winner of this series does move on to face Combat X in the finals for the Eastern National Finals in Montreal.
So it looks like, you know, Daybreak, it's that map that I hate. You know why. Terran has a lot of ability to exploit that momentum and movement around the map. A lot of good drop points. So I'm wondering if LaGTTBelieve is going to exploit that again. You could see from the first match that his drop play was very strong. As you said, taking little pokes, not overcommitting, and that's exactly what you need to do.
Indeed, and interestingly, Believe would have chose this map because he was not the victor in the last confrontation, so he must feel confident about his chances on this map versus Terran. He must have some sort of build that seems to work well for him. But this map, I feel, doesn't lend itself as well as other maps. For example, in Antigua Shipyard and other maps, you do have areas where you can exploit blink into the base. In this map, you have a lot of dead space around the main and even the natural. So Metavacs can come in and poke and hang out in that dead space, basically unhindered by the Protoss Force.
This SCV is doing a little bit of scouting, probably just worried about any sort of proxy tunnels that will go up. Now taking a normal, typical scouting path, he's going to be moving towards Believe's base. Believe, on the other hand, is going for his same build, that one gate expo, and it seems like LaGTTBelieve is doing the same. A very economic start to this game.
Indeed, both players content to just macro up and not go for any quick all-ins at the beginning of the game. We do see the Marine is out for AlexCMoi. He will be on patrol, maybe even go out to grab the Zelnaga Tower like a boss. And the SCV does go into Believe's base, does scout out the timing of the gas, is able to check the chrono on the Nexus, and is able to now scout out the natural and possibly just sit here and make sure that Believe doesn't go for a greedy build.
It looks like LaGTTBelieve was poised to put down a... Nope, I thought he was going to put an engineering bay, but he is able to leave. And now the command center for LaGTTBelieve is coming up. And the SCV for him, that's scouting at the Protoss base, is able to just run away and scout another day.
So the expansion for LaGTTBelieve is ahead of Believe's if he even does want to expand. He is getting warp gate technology, but these Marines aren't going to sit out in front of LaGTTBelieve's base. No doubt they're going to be waiting for a bunker to come down. Just to defend this natural expansion from any early aggression from our Protoss player, who love to do that poke at this front area, and we do see the natural come down for Believe.
Well, with the natural coming down for Believe, he's going to be dropping a couple more gateways just to get that number up in case some sort of attack happens. We see the double gas going down for Believe as well. He's going to be teching a little bit behind this. Probably wants to get that sentry count that you were so familiar with last time. And now the Zealot is going to be chasing that SCV, which gets another scout off the base.
This is extremely annoying for Believe. His Stalker just missed it out of vision radius and ended up leaving without sniping that SCV. So the SCV gets an incredibly valuable scout, even though he will die for his efforts. The information he brings back to his allies at base. Oh, and even gets to, well, he didn't see much by going that extra route, but he wouldn't be able to outpace that Stalker anyways.
Roll there. Sorry. LaGTTBelieve now in his base. He has his 3 barracks off. He is researching Stim, and he's not, I guess, not too worried about the Protoss right now. He got that scout off. He saw the Nexus going up, but he didn't see the Robo, I believe.
No, and he's not even going for any Marauder play, just focusing on the Marines. And this is something AlexCMoi seems to be very typical of his play. He likes to push out with a big group of Marines, comes out to save his ally. If the micro isn't good for Believe, he will lose a soccer, and it will go down to that DPS of those Marines. A huge pickup for AlexCMoi, and those minerals might cost Believe in the long run. He needs to have all the units he can to make sure that he wins all fights in the end.
Well, he should be, well, I don't think he should be too worried about that. It doesn't look like AlexCMoi is going to be pushing out any kind of pressure. I mean, the Marine count was pretty normal at that time. It wasn't something insane. But you're right, as a Protoss player, losing those early units can be detrimental later on, especially if the Terran does decide to put some early pressure on.
Exactly, and we do see that the Marine count is pretty high for AlexCMoi. He is ramping up his production even more. He's getting his factory now and starting to put on tech structures onto his racks so that he can be producing massive amounts of Marines. And it looks like he's going to favor 2 reactor Raxes with 1 tech lab on another for Marauder play.
We're getting these players' names confused. I think we just called AlexCMoi LaGTTBelieve.
Did I?
Yeah.
No way.
Oh,
What's his name?
Player names are not what I'm totally used to saying. I mean, you know how usually when we have our names, we don't have anyone supporting us, but we usually just go with, you know, Saunders or Jovian or whatnot. Yeah. But these players do have their sponsors and do have their teams. Observer coming out for Believe. He's going to get a good scout off on the Terran base. Looking at the front, only sees 1 barracks, 1 bunker, and a couple of Marines standing behind it. Only 1 gas being taken at the natural. So he's going to be feeling pretty okay right now. Not a huge number of units coming out. But with that double reactored barracks going here, that's about four Marines at a time.
My goodness, and Believe was supply blocked earlier at 60 supply, and now you can see he's decided to overcompensate by getting a huge buffer for himself, putting a lot into those pylons. At the same time, he is getting his robotics base, so he will be able to get Colossus out relatively shortly, which will do a great job against the bio army of AlexCMoi.
Oh man, that's what you need. When you're making Colossus, they take up 8 supply at a time. Mm-hmm. That's the problem I've always found myself. Making a Colossus, trying to warp in units and going, you require more pylons.
You must construct additional pylons. The upgrades are coming out 2 at a time for Believe. Meanwhile, AlexCMoi is content just to get 1 at a time, but he is still focusing heavily on the Marine and Marauder composition. Only very shortly going to be getting his medevacs, and there they are. Just a little bit later than the last game, but we'll be in time to have at least 2 medics to follow this Marine group that is pushing out of Alexei's base.
You know, if you have a look at the time that most PVTs end, this is about the time that they end. It's this push around the 10-minute mark when the Terran has that medevac advantage, where he can drop in the back and push in the front. We see the Observer, though, getting a great little scout off on AlexCMoi's army, but I think AlexCMoi might be able to see this Observer, seeing that blur move around in the map. But it looks like he's trying to split up his army and getting ready for that
It looks like he wants it. Yep, the scan does come down. That stim was a definite tell on that snipe, and now Believe deciding that this army composition is a little bit too big. Maybe I should go back a little bit and maybe fight at my natural, or perhaps he's worried about a drop in the back, which is something AlexCMoi does like to do against Protoss players. The Twilight is down for Believe, so he will be able to get his 2-2s immediately after 1-1 finishes. And here comes the drop in the back. These medevacs are going to be able to wreak havoc as Believe's army is completely out of position and not ready to receive this, even with Blink on the way.
So yeah, we might be able to see that Twilight Council be sniped again by AlexCMoi. And right now the third base coming up for both players, but this army of the Terran is getting ready to push up this ramp, taking a few pot shots at the rocks, and just getting ready, trying to bait out the Protoss army somewhere so he can attack somewhere else.
This is going to be huge. If AlexCMoi does go to the third and snipe that, meanwhile dropping in the main, because the army is out of position for Believe, and there is going to be a drop in the main while all this army is completely out of position, will not be able to receive this, has to cancel his third base. Meanwhile, his Twilight Council is going to go down after some probe destruction, I'm certain. No, deciding to go for heavy economic damage, does get rid of the pylon, doesn't even worry about the Twilight, decides to go, and those probes are just lining up beautifully for these machine guns and these shells from the Marauders, and Believe does chase away those units, but the damage has been done. The third has been denied, the Twilight has been unpowered, and the economy damage is massive.
If you look at the units lost here, we can see that was 14 workers killed for AlexCMoi. At least the Twilight didn't get sniped this time, so he can still get that upgrade that he needs, which is Blink, very important there. And right now, you know, Protoss trying to stabilize. A couple of SCVs being rallied here. Probably made a little mistake rallying his command center production. But we see the third is now up for AlexCMoi. And he also has this factory still scouting out, trying to land it, trying to be a little cheeky, block that Protoss expansion. But the Nexus has already got down.
AlexCMoi being very active on the map. He did have medevacs at both the north and south position on either side of Believe's base, and Believe was just not able. He has no answer for this. Protoss does not typically go air against Terran, so they really have no way of defending against those drops that just sit in that dead space. As we mentioned, this unit group is going to go out. These units of Alexei are going to stim to run away, but they are going to be met with some reinforcements that are in tow. The unit composition for Believe, I mean, it's good, but it is easily being countered by these Vikings and massive DPS of these Marines and Marauders.
And we see that Believe notices this. He is going to try to transition into Templar tech, but right now it's so hard for the Protoss to move out. He knows he didn't kill those medevacs, and right as I say that, the medevac drop at the main base is coming, and it's going to do so much damage. It might actually even get this Twilight Council here. Believe trying to split up his army as much as possible, but this Twilight Council is going to go down, and with that, there goes the Blink upgrade. So crucial.
I know, that was absolutely devastating, and this is exactly why you don't want to play on this map against someone who likes to do the drop play. If you don't have High Templars in the back to feedback, or if you don't have Stalkers to receive them, there's really nothing you can do against a mobile force with this Marine medevac composition. Believe is now just frantically running around the map, and this army of his is being chased around by that factory. Meanwhile, the drop is in the base again, killing even more probes, and even producing 3 probes at a time. It's just not enough to stem the tide of this economic damage. These warped-in units don't even come in time to defend, and they get no kills, then they die themselves. So that's 400 minerals worth of zealots just gone down the drain to no kills.
This is like that splinter in your thumb that you get sometimes, and you always know it's there, and it's always being annoying, and you just can't get rid of it. That's what those medivacs are right now.
My God, that was a weird analogy, but I'm glad that you brought it up, because now we get to see some storms being researched at the base of LaGTTBelieve, hopefully being able to soften this incredible size of Marine and Marauder coming up. And Believe is trying to move his force around the map, but I'm not sure that he has enough of a force. If AlexCMoi just decides to come in against this force, I don't see how Believe will be able to stop it. And luckily, he does have his army in the right position. This army group is going to come in and confront Believe. Believe will need an incredible concave against this army, but this force is absolutely massive. This DPS is going to be unreal. This Nexus is going to go down so quickly, and the army does stim up, meaning that they get to shoot faster, and the DPS is going to just munch through those Zealots. And once the Zealots go, there's going to be nothing to stop the Marines from moving forward, and Believe has to GG for the second time in a row, meaning AlexCMoi goes up 2-0 in this best of 5 series. Please stay with us. We're just going to hit a couple ads, but we'll be back with you shortly after.
I am not just a television. I am a Samsung Smart TV. I am your cheer on Canada and follow Twitter on screen machine. The only question is, where will your passions take us?
Thanks. No problem.
What did you guys just do right there?
Just gave him a video.
Okay, let's get started.
You did that without a dongle.
It's pretty cool, huh?
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm texting and watching a video at the same time.
It's a boy. Check it out.
3. Oh, that's cool. That is cool.
That's cool. Wow. This is a lot to process.
Yeah.
Introducing the Galaxy S3. Share like never before.
Welcome back, team. We are back after that frantic game number 2 between Believe and Alexei. My name is Jovian. I'm joined by my co-caster Songers, and we're having a wonderful time casting these games for the WCG Eastern National Finals.
These games have been so intense. The action is nonstop. Sometimes I'm at a loss of words when I'm casting. When we get into the action, there's just things happening. You can pause.
I also find that you come up with terrible metaphors to explain
My
situations
metaphors
in the game.
Are ones that everyone can understand, and everyone's had that experience of having a splinter in their thumb.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Really?
You think you're above us now? Never got a splinter in your thumb? Okay.
No, dude. I have gamer thumb. I have Nintendo thumb.
Are?
Nothing penetrates this, bro. But thanks so much for joining us, everyone. This is an incredible match between AlexCMoi and Believe, and the players are now joining the game. So
this is game number 3.
Yeah, this is game number 3. So potentially, if AlexCMoi wins this match, it will be the end of Believe's WCG Eastern National Final chances, and then Alexei will move on to face Combat X in the finals. So this is a huge map for Believe, and deciding to go with Cloud Kingdom for game number 3.
So for people that don't know, that this tournament is the WCG Eastern Finals, and it's happening in a mall, which I can't pronounce, so Frank, I'm going to give that to you.
It's at the Complex Desjardins. We'll talk more about it on the other side of this Esports Canada sting, coming up right now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. This is game number 3 between LaGTTBelieve and AlexCMoi on Daybreak, and we have our opponents spawning
in cross positions.
Yeah, in cross positions,
yes.
Which would make sense, right?
Because there are only 2 positions.
Go ahead and introduce them before I embarrass myself some more.
So in the bottom left-hand corner of Cloud Kingdom, we have our green Protoss. He is now down 2-0. It is LaGTTBelieve. Against his other opponent, well, not other opponent, the only opponent in this map, we have our blue Terran Killing Spree's AlexCMoi.
AlexCMoi up 2-0 in this series. And I actually have a fun fact for you. I learned this a little while ago. So did you know that, you know how Protoss sometimes come in and drop an assimilator on your Vespian geysers?
Sure.
Well, if you did that in your opponent's base, and if you look at the third base of the Terran, you will notice that you can put a pylon behind the minerals, and the vision will be just enough such that you can actually warp in units on the high ground. The assimilator will give you just enough vision to reach the range of the power field. So it's a little cheeky play if you guys ever wanted to try that out.
Where did you learn?
Our production guy had it perfect, actually. He showed the first time he was there, that's exactly where you're supposed to put that on. So, wonderful job by John Quinn.
Next time I play you, I'll keep note of that.
I don't play Terran, though. And you'll never get into my base. So we do see the scout come out for AlexCMoi. They are going to give each other a high five across the middle of the map. Boom! Oh, that was a nice kiss.
That was a pretty good high five.
And so they do cross positions, and we do see a pylon going up in the back of Believe. This makes me think he's going to come up with a little bit of sneaky play, going to hide some tech in that back corner.
Yeah, you're right, because that is, you know, the pylon placement is actually pretty important for Protoss, especially in the early game, because that's the only place where you can build your buildings, right? So yeah, definitely could be hiding something back there. It's not a pretty typical place that the SCV will scout after it gets its initial ones out.
Indeed. At the same time, a good player will know how many pylons you should be having by a certain point in the game. And AlexCMoi was probably a little confused, saying, why do you only have 1 pylon? You should either be supply block or you're proxying something somewhere. Now, you do see him frantically looking around the map. I'm not sure if he did get vision on that pylon, but it will be critical that he does know that it exists and it is in the corner of Believe's base.
I just checked the vision of AlexCMoi, and he wasn't able to scout that pylon just yet. So he might be worried that something's going out. So that's why he has his Marines scouting right now. He has 1 going up to his third base, scouting over there, and 1 scouting the bottom as well. So definitely worried that something's going to go down, but doing the right things, the right steps to prevent him from losing to any sort of proxy cheese.
Yeah, so this will be a little bit of anxious moments for AlexCMoi. I'm gonna hazard a guess that Believe is gonna go for. I am completely basing this on nothing, but I am going to assume he's gonna go for some DT play. I feel that if you're gonna be hiding tech in the corner of your base, it is for a reason, and you're trying to be extremely sneaky. And the last thing you want to do is show your hand that there is going to be DT. So in that corner might be the right place to put it.
If he was going for DTs, though, I would expect him to have another gas geyser, but that could just be a next-level mind game that I am just not aware of. DTs off of 1 gas. We see, look, and here comes the other gas going down right now. So SCV was able to see that, but still doesn't know where that missing pylon is. Now, Stalker doing a bit of pressure, good pressure in the front here, taking out almost 1 Marine, and is able, taking some hull damage. Oh no, he's surrounded by a bunch of Marines, and he might just get away with his life.
Yeah, he will be able to escape because of that superior speed, but critically, he needs to attack once and move. Never attack twice, because the Stalker's attack speed is just so slow, and then you're liable to take some damage on your hull from those Marines, which we saw critically took down that Stalker down to the red. This SCV still being extremely annoying in the base. Production is being ramped up, I believe, getting 2 more gates and a robo in his main base. Warp gate technology is almost done, so we should see, Believe, ramping up his army production. At the same time, the bunker is down for AlexCMoi at the front of his base. So both players happy to dig in and get their economy up.
Oh man, that SCV has been alive for so long, but still it hasn't scaled that pylon in the corner. But I think by now, AlexCMoi is getting into a bit of a groove now. He's feeling a little more confident against what's happening. If some sort of cheese was going to happen, it was going to happen around now. Because the earliest you can get DTs is about this time.
Yeah, that DT was completely based on nothing, remember? So if he does not go DTs at all, then I am not a smart man. But the Observer will be coming out shortly for Believe, which means that he'll be able to scout all the stuff that's going on in the base of AlexCMoi. The Warp Gate technology is done, so now we see the 3 Warp Gates being completely ready to start sending out units. We're starting to warp them in from the Protoss planet.
So this game is starting to move something a bit more of standard play here. Both players have their expansions, and it looks like it's going to be Colossus as the choice of tech here. As you said, you know, our little DT analysis probably was based on nothing, but it could have happened, and you know, it was good to point it out.
This build by LaGTTBelieve is just something that he's been doing every game now. I guess if it's not broken, don't fix it. He's getting his 1 engineering bay for single upgrades at a time. He's content to get his Marauders out of 1 building, and then his Marines out of 2 reactored buildings. So his production is exactly the same. We're expecting to finish the factory and then quickly go into a starport, swap them out, immediately start his medevac production, and then go right back into that drop harassment, which is still very effective on this map. Maybe not as effective as Daybreak because there's less dead space in the back corners and you have more of an ability to drop stalkers to trap the units in the corners. But really, still an effective measure against any Protoss composition.
So as you're right, yes, and he is getting that 3rd command center up, and it's just completed for LaGTTBelieve. Observer is going to be doing a pretty big scout of the base, able to see everything that's going on, sees that 3rd command center, so he knows that LaGTTBelieve is trying to go for a later game, probably going to be grabbing this base and then pushing out around the same time. As we can see, the factory is near completion, and he's going to be, yeah, as you said, making a starport. So right now, Stim is almost done, +1 weapons is also getting there, where the first Colossus is coming out, and a 3rd Nexus going down for Believe.
And Believe completely stopped his pro production, which made me think that he was going to go for a 2-base all-in play, but now bringing back his economy online, starting to produce probes once again and getting that 3rd base. The fact the forges are going double upgrades and are being chrono boosted, so they should be popping roughly in time with level 1 weapons for LaGTTBelieve. The Colossus production is 1 at a time, and because of the cost of making those Colossus, he just can't seem to afford to buy more, and now finally gets enough minerals to get his 2nd Colossus building.
Okay, so the Observer was almost scouted out by LaGTTBelieve, but now is in that really cool position where Overlords usually sit, and it's very hard to detect there. Right now, though, the Nexus is going up without any sort of pressure coming up from the Terran, so very passive game so far. This SCV that's moving across the map won't be able to scout out this 3rd. Oh, a Marine, sorry. Marine will be able to scout this 3rd and know exactly what's happening, stimming in even, to just move up, not trying to get trapped, just saving every single unit that he possibly can.
Giving him that extra mobility. So having this 3rd is actually really great for Believe because it'll allow him to keep tabs on the drop play. This 3rd does a great job of giving you just almost enough vision to be able to see any medevacs skirting around the back there. We do see that LaGTTBelieve is just streaming massive amounts of units out to the center of his natural and his 3rd, getting his army up and running now that his economy is basically exactly where he wants it to be.
Wonder if it would be a little bit of a mistake of not pushing out earlier, because now the 3rd base for the Protoss is established, and he does have a larger army to deal with any sort of attack or drop. Before the attacks from LaGTTBelieve, we're hitting about the 10-minute 30 mark, but right now he's a full minute behind his usual timing. And it seems that the Protoss army might be able to take this Terran army head on, and 2 Marines getting roasted right there off the bat.
Yeah, like you said, Alexei's timings have been pushed back slightly and slightly each round, but it's the exact same thing that he's been doing. This is his go-to. He's going to be picking up units. Not sure why he's sending back his medevacs, but this small ragtag group of Marines are going to go around and possibly assault the 3rd base of the Protoss. It looks like Believe is expecting this and sending in his units to receive them, but neither player wanting to attack each other. The medevacs now, I know, are going to be, they've moved back so that they could come around the long way, not be seen by any Xel'Naga watchtower, and go around and hit the natural. Meanwhile, the Observer is moving, but is not going to be able to see those medevacs. So critically, LaGTTBelieve is now going to be having that opportunity to assault the natural of Believe, meanwhile attacking on at the 3rd with this large group of Marines and Marauders and medevacs.
So we now see the big army of Believe. He is postured to defend his 3rd, but that leaves the back of his natural totally open here, and there's so many probes that are going to be going down. Oh my goodness, the probes are running for their lives, but now Pylon's going to go down, and now this base is basically not mining at all. Colossus is coming back to defend. Getting some good shots on that army over there. But what about the other army at the 3rd?
He just may be able to kill those units. No, the medevac does pick them up, and now they're going to be dropped in the back of the mineral line to do more economic damage. Believe is now frantically trying to send in more stalkers. The stalkers are going to pick off the medevacs. If he gets these, it will be huge and allow him to claw back into the game. And yes, he does. He kills that medevac almost full with units, and he desperately needed that to happen because he lost so much at his natural.
This is really great for Believe right now. He successfully defended that drop, and now you know, as we talked about before, there's that psychological advantage. AlexCMoi is not going to be dropping anytime soon again.
But AlexCMoi does do the correct response. You saw a whole bunch of Vikings just seconds ago, so he does have the correct response to combat these Colossus. We do see that Believe does have the ability to create High Templar, I believe, because he was creating some Archons in his base. So he should have the right thing to counter those Vikings. He should be able to have High Templars to storm out the units of AlexCMoi.
The Templar Arc is in a really strange position over here, but it's in a position where it's not easily scannable by the Terran.
Yeah, not typically scouted, unless you're getting steamrolled anyways, right?
Exactly,
and the army's just rolling through your base.
So if this goes well, it doesn't seem like, oh, well, AlexCMoi just doing some preemptive ghost anyways. I mean, when you're playing PvT, it's basically what Protoss is going to do. They're going to swap into High Templar sometime. So now that he is on 3 bases, he has the ability to just make them, so why not just have them?
Yeah, and they're valuable at all stages of the game. Even if your opponent doesn't go High Templar, the EMP alone is enough to just cut in half at least the HP
I think we're
your
going to see our
opponent.
first big engagement of the game right now. Vikings are postures on top of the ramp, so they do have that side advantage right now. Protoss army is going to be pushing up, and the armies are just going to back up from each other. No entire engagement on it, but Archon is going to get some pot shots, stimming the back of the army, and is able to get away.
And Believe has a pretty sizable army here, and luckily, I'm not sure why AlexCMoi moved away from his drop play, because that was so effective for him, and now we see AlexCMoi coming back, perhaps to do another confrontation. The ghost numbers are pretty large. I'm not sure what he was doing. He's killing Marauders to clear up supply. So feels confident enough that he can change the composition of his army and deciding to go for more ghosts than Marauders.
I mean, more ghosts, that's basically what you want. You want more EMPs, and ghosts actually do a surprising amount of damage per shot. And especially with those snipes, you could get all those High Templars. But right now, we're just getting those power armies. Even the War Prism coming out. I haven't seen a War Prism very often in this tournament. So, you know, Believe is getting close to max out. War Prism speed is also on the way. So, also freeing up supply. Both these players freeing up supply right now. Even attacking their...
Even getting rid of a Nexus. I don't need this 4th basis, so I believe, but then realizes that was a misclick. But yeah, like you said, those snipes are effective, and they do massive damage to light units. So all of those Zealots will have a bad time versus any Ghost attack.
I don't know if you saw Frank earlier, but that War Prism is now loaded up with 3 High Templars, and now 4 High Templars. I'm not sure if these are going to be used for drops or to avoid the EMPs, but we're going to be seeing some sick micro coming out if a fight does take place.
Yeah, this is wonderful. It'll also allow him to move his High Templars with his army a lot quicker because they are so slow. We're going to see an engagement at the 4th base of AlexCMoi. The scan is down. He does see the army composition of Believe, so Alexei is completely aware of what he is going to be facing. These probes are going up probably to clear up some supply, maybe even get a little scout, and the Colossus are moving along with the army. The army is trying to go while the army of AlexCMoi is out of position. They might get trapped up here. It's critical that they get the correct concave. The Viking numbers are high. The Stalkers blink to receive them. The units of AlexCMoi are going to be stuck behind this rock, and he doesn't want to get caught in that choke.
This is such bad positioning for our Terran player, having to destroy the rocks to get up this ramp. But huge storms going down on all the Vikings, but they are able to get move out of it. EMPs coming down, but Protoss is in such a good position up on top of this ramp.
And the armies are just still going at it. AlexCMoi is able to crest up that hill. Believe has lost a lot of his units and now in full retreat. Will not be able to get away from a stimmed army composition though. Not even able to reinforce. And even the turrets are attacking the Colossus. And the entire army of Believe is going down. He's in complete frantic mode, dropping force fields randomly, trying to move out of the way. The Vikings can't attack anything, but flying over ominously, spelling doom for our Protoss player.
Oh my gosh, Believe had such an advantage there, but he was just caught off guard. I think his Templars were stuck in the back, and he was down about 50 supply there to LaGTTBelieve, and now with even nukes coming out now, we are going to have a show today.
If the nuke even has a chance to drop, we do see LaGTTBelieve is content to push forward, attack these rocks, will be able to push up and attack Believe shortly, even sends a few Marines forward. He notices that the army is small and that he can get a good concave if he just does push up. The DPS of this army is massive, but there's so many zealots there. The choke is beautiful, prevents the surface area for the zealots to surround that ball. The Vikings don't even need to land, may even decide to land them shortly. The EMP completely reduces those Archons to useless now that they have 0 HP left on them.
Vikings now landed now, Believe is warping in zealots one by one, but this Terran army is just too much. Even more zealots coming in, but I don't think he will be able to hold this. Let's go see him, and here comes the nuke. It is coming down in the front, but Ghost does get canceled by those zealots.
Oh, and Believe, good manner says GG and good luck. That means we will see. That means LaGTTBelieve won this match 3-0 against Believe. LaGTTBelieve now will face Combat X in the grand finals of the Eastern National
Finals.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. Please stay with us. We're just going to hit a few advertisements, but we'll be back shortly.
All right, you ready, Kevin? And flip.
Whoa! Did you get that?
Yep. Look at this. It takes like 20 pictures at a time. I never miss anything. Isn't that awesome?
That's really cool. You should upload these.
I know, right?
That is really amazing. Pictures are so clear.
Kevin's a handsome devil.
That phone does everything. Search dog tricks.
Okay, see if we can teach him something cool. Look at how lazy Kevin is.
Kevin, get it together, dude.
Come on, Kevin.
Take 20 pictures with Burst Shot on the Galaxy S3.
I am not just a television. I am a Samsung Smart TV. I am your cheer on Canada and follow Twitter on screen machine. The only question is, where will your passions take us?